there was a young lady reading the citation. How you can tell me you have a Soufriere government school and you have an individual lady reading the citation to hand over placard or whatever? Mark, it is very sad. To my mind, it's an education department. The education division or the education department should have a key role in that. I do not have a problem if the power rep comes to make a presentation, I'm fine. But you cannot tell me it was totally hijacked by the power rep. Mark, it was very sad. If you say I had a child, an influence of a child there, imagine I did some investigation with the graduation in Point Michel, and I was told by two staff that never happened in Point Michel. All the principal asked the power rep is say what she has to say and move. But Martin Soufriere, it was hijacked by the Labour Party.
Well, let me correct you in one instance there, because I think the parliament may have had a representative, but she was not there because I was there doing a presentation on Jeff's behalf. So she was not there. She sent a representative at that function.
So she was there, but I didn't like what I saw. Playing on the minds of young children going to school. It was dominated by a Labour vibes, and you have the staff of the teachers there. So what are the role of the teachers? What are the role of the education department? It was very sad. I couldn't say and take that, man. You mean a primary school have a graduation is dominated by the parrot and any people working in the office dominating that? What is that about?
Let me ask you, because of course you always give a lot of pressure to that pal rep. Do you have anything personal against her?
Matt, it's not a matter of bash. What I'm saying, we have to know protocol on how to do things.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the parrot. What I'm saying is certain things have its place and its time. And that is what I'm concerned about.
All right.
Certain place, certain things have its place. When you tell me you have a graduation, how can a graduation dominated by a parrot now and its entourage? Man, Matt. And I believe if that ceremony would have happened in any other high school or whatever, they would have stood up to her. Matt, what the NEP staff in the office doing inside, all of them well dressed. And you have a Labour young lady photographer. And you have a Labour lady reading the citation. Matt, think of that. What do you think of that? So what the staff of the school is for, what the division of education is for. Come on, man, let's be real. Don't play any minds of the people, so man. Thank you, Matt.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much. All right, let's take another telephone call. We're here with Jeff Bellott from the Soufriere constituency, He's just a patriot doing things for his community he loves. Hello, talk to me, yes? 449309596. Hello, talk to me, yeah?
Yeah, Matt, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Matt, it's Simon Scott said on your show today.
Scott said, yeah, I have some reps from Scott said that, yes.
Yeah, good afternoon to my cousin Jeff.
Good afternoon.
Jeff, good afternoon. I want to hear you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, you're doing extremely well. Matt, you just asked another village of mine whether he's bashing the pirate.
Yes.
Matt, when you have a pirate and you're communicating with her and she's not responding to you, when you start talking about it, there's no bashing there, Matt. If she cannot do the job, just get out of the way and let Jeff do the job because Jeff ready to do the job. No, Matt, I really call you to ask Jeff a favor. Jeff, I know Mr. Skerrit will answer you and he will not answer me. I would like you to ask him on my behalf. Please, Jeff, 2 questions I'm going to ask you to ask him. Whether Dominicans really lost their lives at the expense of his stay in power. And number 2 question, Jeff, ask him from me. The letter that was submitted to him from me with the headline, the reopening of Scottsgate School, and he did not respond. Whether my letter was disrespectful. But Jeff, you know, I believe I submitted this letter to you already. You can go back to my page and look at it and read it yourself. Jeff, this letter was never responded to. And you know what the letter was all about? So when the Prime Minister is talking about
But do you know, I'm just being, again, realistic with you. Do you know if Scottsdale has the population to have its own school?
you from the East, whatever they call them, let the public see the letter if it's disrespectful.
No, but I'm asking you a different question. I'm saying, I know you're very concerned about the Scottsdale school. I'm asking you, whether you think Scottsdale itself has a population of students to send to that school. There was a serious concern about that. Yeah? I suspect he's
We
just
lost
gonna.
him.
Yeah, we lost him. but you have looked at that situation. I know. I mean,
Yeah,
a few students in Scottsdale.
the thing is that the population in Scottsdale has gone down significantly, and this is something I keep track of. And I can mention is that my brother Steve Nicholas, one of the really good statisticians that was trained by Dr. Thompson Fountain, Ken Vital, these guys, did a really good job at statistics. And we always look at this every election year and so on. And the population was there in Scottsdale. I think what really messed up the whole primary school system is when this whole universal education and the Scarlet Pass thing came into
Okay.
play. That messed up the situation. People get their kids out. But people don't have any children anymore. They can't afford it. It's very difficult for single moms here. And this is why I do the scholarship, Matt, because it is very expensive to send a child to school. And when you look at the population of Scottsdale, even the general population of Scottsdale, the last time we checked, it was a little under 600. I don't know what it is.
Really?
Yeah, it's not very good. And the population of Soufriere has always been 1,000, 1,100. I'm not even sure if it's that number. So I am actually working with someone who have done poll here in Dominica on some things, and I want to really confirm the population. But some of those schools, they really have to merge them. But I think the Scottsdale school can be used as a technical center.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that I spoke to them. Yes, they will offer free training to do electrical and plumbing. Even our friend Higgs is one of those want to do that. I've known people want to give free training in outboard engine training and stuff like that. I have spoke to some of my scientists in the US that would love to go and do agri-processing training and so on at the school, but there's a lot of things we can use it for. But to answer the caller before this last caller, I'm thinking about the whole situation. I think what happened, I was told that when Matthias PLT, first of all, why Jeff picked Matthias of all people to make a donation on his behalf, and how comes the school did not let them know about that. But this is coming from a very close friend of the power rep, so I cannot know how true this was. Then they said, we'll wait for him in Soufriere, because I spoke about the donation for Soufriere as well. A scholarship for Soufriere as well. So they went to Soufriere to pack it, and they dressed in whatever they're doing and stuff like that. So I am not surprised. But the guy is right. They're playing in the mind of the people.
But did you give a scholarship in Soufriere?
Yeah, I did a scholarship in Soufriere. Actually, the scholarship in Soufriere, I named it the Made in Augustine Scholarship, which is my mom's name. And the reason why I did that is because the scholarship in Soufriere really is for a child that passed the common entrance exam, and that the parents, is less fortunate, don't have the funds to send him to school. So I remember as a single mom, when my mother was a single mom, how she took me to church and took care of me and so on. It was difficult. And now it's like 100 times more difficult for single parents. So I gave a scholarship in the honor of my mom, Made in Augustine. So the Made in Augustine scholarship in Soufriere Primary, every year when a child passes the common entrance exam, the child that the school decide that, and the school have to decide that. The principal,
not you.
Not me. The school, the teachers have to do an assessment and say, this kid really need help, so we are going to make that scholarship go towards that child. And that fund will go every year as long as I'm alive. I've committed to do that for them. It's just like last year I did that to Mr. PLT, where I made a $500 donation available to a child that passed the Soufriere Primary School, and that child received it to get a head start. And that child really needed that, and the parents were very grateful for that. And so if I started this with Fodina when I was on her program, in the Spotlight program right here on Q. And then when she was trying to help get book supplies and stuff for kids, and she told me, and right on air, I made a donation of $500 as well to Fodina program. And that's how I wanted to keep Fodena alive for the work that she's doing, and made the Fodena Frampton Scholarship available in Point Michel. So I'm not here to compete with PALREP. I'm not here to compete with this red party that look disorganized, and I can't find the correct word to use.
Hello, on the telephone, are you there?
Matt, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm listening to your conversation this afternoon, and it's very interesting, eh? But if you don't mind, allow me to raise a few points.
Go
The first
ahead.
point I want to
Go ahead.
raise is with regard to the Scott said school, several recommendations have been made for the use of the Scott said school in various categories. It's unfortunate that to this day that building sits there and languishes when it's a very good building. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the fact that we must admit the situation that the schools are greatest indicators of the population size of Dominica. All over the country, we have schools that were built for 300, capacity for 300, 200, with being underpopulated by 100.
Mm-hmm.
And there's several of them. We start Most Stevens Government School, the Vegas Primary School, the Penville, the La Plaine School. Many schools around Dominica which were constructed for 300 students plus now have a population of less than 100,000. So that is a concern. Of course, one of the things that, again, is alarming is that many recommendations again have been made to turn these schools into various learning institutions of one kind and the other. And it's just unfortunate again that most of those recommendations have not been taken on board, and that as a result, we see most of the schools are just becoming ghost centers. Wesley Primary School, and you can name as many of them as possible, and that's rather unfortunate. Cranberry Primary School, almost all the schools in Dominica are underpopulated. But the sadder thing is that it's not only the population decline, but the fact that many recommendations have been made. A lot of recommendations have been made to use those schools in other capacities of it. The last thing, Matt, is the graduation. I'm listening, and again, it's so unfortunate that everything in Dominica on a community level has to become politicized and hijacked by parliamentary representatives. I'm listening, and I think it's so sad that a graduation ceremony, which is supposed to be a celebration of a school, a celebration of milestones for students, have to be taken over by politicians. I mean, I don't think people understand what school leaving ceremonies are about. I personally, from my perspective, do not think primary schools need graduation. I think it is, it is totally, all those things are overblown. We have even preschools having graduation. Now we have daycare centers having graduation. I mean, the whole concept of graduation has been watered down to an activity or an event, and that's not what it's supposed to be. Even high school graduations now, which our high school certificates in Dominica don't have any currency. And so I think we are moving too much towards having those things as grand affairs, whereas they should be celebrations of academic achievements and milestones of students. So it's so unfortunate. I'm listening and I'm hearing that the parliamentary representative has to take over a graduation ceremony, and party political people have to take over a graduation ceremony. I think it's shameful on the school, because educational leadership and management involves the students and teachers, or the parents and the teachers of the school, coming together to celebrate the achievements of the students and the milestones of the students who are graduating. And to turn that over to people who are totally unrelated to the leadership, management, and guidance of the students, I think is shameful. You can even say disgraceful. And it's happening more and more in Dominica, from what I understood, and from what I'm beginning to understand, where politicians and and even parliamentary are going in there and taking over those things, which to my mind, I do not know how does the Ministry of Education tolerate that, but maybe the people in there do not have the backbones or the fiber or the foundation to stand and say that, well, okay, we are responsible for our schools and we determine and direct what happens in our schools as far as leadership, as far as management, as far as activities, as far as in the school is concerned. And that must be directed from the Ministry of Education perspective. You cannot hand over a major school activity to anybody but the school leadership and management. And so I think it's very unfortunate that I have seen my parliamentary representatives have taken over church activities. They're no longer belonging to the church. I have seen where parliamentary representatives have taken over local village and community, local government and community development activities, which has totally undermined and watered down local governance in this country. And now we see them coming and want to take over graduation ceremonies. Well, they might as well get the teachers and the principals out of the schools and let this political hacks come and run the school and teach the school and lead the school. Because at the end of the academic year, that is where the principal and the staff are supposed to come in and say, okay, let us come together and rally our efforts, our energy, so that we can celebrate the achievements and the successes of the students and present them to the community. And the community sits down and listens. And if there is to be collaboration between the community and the school, it must be done through the PTA, because that is how the community is represented in the school. For the Parent-Teacher Association, the president of the PTA, the secretary of the PTA, and the PTA. So that is how you have that collaboration. As a matter of fact, that is one of the indicators of successful school, the collaboration between the school and the community through the PTA. So nobody else from the community, and as a matter of fact, a parliament should just have to come sit on a chair, fold their arm, and observe. And if they are called upon to give a prize or a remark, then they do it. You know, it's a shameful matter. And you know, I do not know where we're heading in this country, but everything seems to be heading in the wrong direction. And it's going to be very sad, if politics continues to play a part in schools' achievements, and there's a political dimension for education, of course. We cannot divorce it from that. But I'm not talking about the political dimension of educational leadership and management. I'm talking about party politics playing a role in school leadership, management, celebration, achievement, and so forth. That is totally offshoot, and I think the Ministry of Education needs to seriously reflect on those things. And if they have the backbone, they will have to speak to the powers that be, and they have to speak to the political directorate and tell them this is wrong. This is wrong. And it is totally undermining and erasing the whole concept of what educational management and leadership is about.
All right, thank you, Simeon. Thank you. And again, I must compliment at this point the staff, the principal and staff of the St. Luke's School, my alma mater, did a great job. I saw no politics involved in this one.
Yeah, I think Sister Anita, they can mess around with her. She won that school. And this is what leadership is. When you're a leader, you have to understand your role, that people not going to come and run you over and try to think that they're going to do your favor thing. And that's what leadership is about. Leadership is not about, oh, I'm going to do this for Matt because it's my body, and if John come, although John is correct, I'm going to put Matt first. No. There's a time and place for this. And the caller who called, Simeon, I really would like to meet him one day, because I listen to him. He makes some good points on some of these issues. And he's absolutely correct. A situation like a graduation ceremony, the principal, the power rep for the area should just come in as really much like
Symbol.
You sit down, and then if you're asked to give a speech,
Ceremonial,
you do that, and then if you give a thing, you do. And this is exactly what you do. And again, Matt, just today I had the opportunity to take pictures with the two recipients of the scholarship for both Soufriere Primary and Point Michel Primary. And then again, all it was that you went there and you gave a speech on my behalf. And for the record, I am going to make this speech available that was read at those ceremony, maybe to DNO, an online newspaper, and one of them, so people can read it themselves. They can see there's nothing politics mentioned. And specifically in the Soufriere graduation speech, I did mention that we have to remember people like Daniel Lagouin that helped rebuild the primary school. And I'm also asking the parent, again, I'm trying to help her. That school in Soufriere should be named after Daniel Lagouin, because he was the one that ensured that school was rebuilt after Maria, and he has done so much for the community. But nothing political was mentioned in the speech. And I'm asking the owner of DNO if he'll be in agreement. I'll send him the speech, and he can put it out there. They can see there was nothing political about it. I am only doing this thing from my heart. Because the speech you read in Point Michel, this is it. Sister Anita gave a harmony one time in Scotland when she was saying mass service. And I sitting by my mom, and here she was talking about, when we have gifts and we have been blessed by God, we also have to understand we should use these very same gifts to bless others. And that's just what I'm doing. I'm grateful for what God has done for me. And today I want to pass these blessings on. And that's all.
Hello, on the telephone. Are you there?
Yeah, Matt, please, get with me. I called to apologize to you because I wasn't hearing you asking me that question.
Okay.
Matt, although that question is not that I was asking,
I don't know what happened to you.
say how much the Prime Minister was very disrespectful. But Matt, ask Jeff, when I submitted this letter in 2004, whether we had all our population still, Matt, they had a plan for that school. I even got a man, the millionaire that is going to pay the teachers, the remainder of the children, teachers to educate the children. His name is Carl. I came to Dominica especially for that. The education officer told me to tell him, pay the people, them to home educate their children. Matt, in 2004, we had all our population there, and the Prime Minister, my point is, he never responded to that letter. I will send it to you, Matt.
All right, caller, do that. Matt, pure facts. Last week, Miss Greta Roberts at the convent graduation ceremony, I swore, somebody saying there from the diaspora, that she was at the Labour Party campaign rally and misleading the young people. I let her have it. That's what one body there from the diaspora is saying. We have to, everything have a place and the time. Yeah. Everything have a place and the time.
I think what has happened in Dominica is that the government currently we have has made this country election mode every time. And when people behave this way, it's two things, Matt. Is either that they know they're very incompetent, so they live in fear that they know they're not doing a good job, so they live in fear. So to do that, they try to do this to manipulate the mind of the people to make them think that it's done. And I want to address this because I want to tell my very lovely young people who are 70 years and over that the $315 you're getting a month right now, this is not coming from the guy, my friend RS. This is not coming from your pal rep over your pal rep. This government is coming from the purses of the taxpayers in the Commonwealth of Dominica. And you had, I think it was Mr. Linton was breaking those numbers down for you, that if they use those funds well from the CBI program, much more they can do with that. So I always warn my mom, don't tell me about the $300 Munsalak about. This is a $315 that is coming from the public's purse. And that $300, I want to tell you.
And that has to be emphasized.
That people need to know that. And I want to say this in Creole. Sou ka koute mou, sou ni an $100, $15 c'est ça gouvernement. Parce qu'on ka paye 15% chaque fois ou gen quelque chose. So ça veut dire, chaque dollar ou ni yon poche ou, 15 cents or 15 cents is already for the government. So once you're getting that $315, so every $100 you get, you are paying $15 on that. So that's $45 and 15% of that $15. So you're paying like 47, 46 something, 46.50 something in that region on that $315 you're getting. And this is what people need to understand. Every time you have $100 in your pocket, $15 belong to the government automatically, because anytime you buy anything, that's how they get it.
15, of course. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Let's take another phone call. Are you there?
Yes, good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Jeff.
Good afternoon.
Jeff, well said, well said. They doesn't learn. We tired of telling them any money they get from Roosevelt Care, it is not his own. It's our tax money. And let me say, well said by Simeon. Oh, always on point. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes? 4493095, 4493096, 4493097. You want, of course, partake in our discussion here this afternoon. Let me get to some WhatsApp messages. I agree with Simeon. Prom and graduation isn't for preschoolers and primary school. And somebody says to Jeff, single households doesn't mean that you're poor, huh? All right, Dominique, over here. We have another few minutes here with our friend Jeff. He's a very busy guy. Jeff, what's for the future as we move forward? I'm hearing that there may be possible elections, of course, snap elections taking place. Do you think Dominique is ready at this time?
It would be a shame for the government to call another election if they don't wait at least 26, 27, because the country is expensive every time you election. This is what pisses me off, honestly. I'll use the word, it pisses me off, because the very same people who are complaining about the country not having enough money to make voter ID card and so on, they call it an election. Do you know, like, we need the Minister of Finance to tell us what is the cost every time we have election in this country? How much it costs us to have election, to put all these things in place, and you're having election after election, and you're telling me you don't have money for voters ID. I hope they don't call the election soon. I hope that they're gonna be taking this like big boy and big girls, take the blows, wait for electoral reform to come through, and then they can have election when things are settled down, and then especially electoral reform must be put in place. And anyone who belongs to any political party organization in Dominica and don't think that the work that the ERC is doing is not such good work to unite everyone together to make sure electoral reform. If you are a political leader of the political party or some organization that don't believe that, you should resign, because the work of the ERC should be really, really be recognized and be complimented. The work people like Mr. Boston, people like Ken Vita, McKenzie, and those guys, the work they are doing, all they are trying to do is to bring a united force to spread the message. And if you're a leader of a political party, you don't support that, shame on you.
All right, I have a question for you in that regard. Hello, are you the caller? Yes?
Yeah, Mr. Felker, blessings to you, sir.
Blessings to you, blessings.
Mr. Baylor, blessings to you, sir.
Blessings. I finally get to meet who you are at my boy Bolo there. What a great guy, man. This Bolo guy, he's so awesome at what he does. I met blessings there.
You think so, sir?
Yeah. He's awesome.
Let me commend you highly. You were the one who gave the scholarship. I'm singing for Dinah. You were the one?
Yes, he was.
My brethren, thanks, and I want to commend you highly. Thanks for the initiative. May the Almighty bring success and more blessings to you and the child who you sponsored. May it be multiplied on your behalf. Matt, let me just say, Matt, the poorest person is the person who is void of principle. Somebody who is empty, they have no principle, so anything goes. And I'm saying all that to say, to come back to Simeon Joseph, the Honorable Simeon Joseph. Matt, you know that person now?
Very well.
Okay, all right. I don't know him that well, but I've listened to him through the years. I've engaged him for a few times, and I can see. Matt, everybody's is in a survival mood. But there's the 10 laws of power, which a friend promised to bring me that book. Is in America right now. And they're following that. I understood step by step the whole manipulation, the skillfully determine the outcome of every damn thing. That is manipulation. The minds of the people, the old, the young. For years you listen to Skerry saying, when are the finish says all the tax money? Loan money, grant money, passport money, whatever the money is ours. But he's trying to make them believe it's out of thin air. He's getting money and he's doing Dominicans a favor. So I agree with Mr. Baylor. It's your money. It's like in America, they have a tax return, something like that, Mr. Baylor.
Yeah, income tax.
They have some kind of tax they're giving you back after you pay tax for this 5 years, or then they're giving you a portion of money. That is your own money.
Every year they give back. I said every year they give you back.
Yeah, once you overpay, you get your money back.
You check it. So it's not government money. It's the country money. So we can blame the people, but the people in the heights of ignorance. It is not Simeon Joseph, Mr. Baylor, and other intelligent people that will come on cue and try to educate the people. The people are lost. They don't have money, scared, they don't have money. At the level of ignorance, like roaches, they put me in a whole big container with roaches and they're crawling all over my skin. When I listen my people basking in the warmth of the ignorance. But I want to hurt those who, that's how I feel in I don't telling you I'm going to. that are aiding and abetting in keeping my people in that level of ignorance. So when you lack of principle, you will shall never do that. For money, I don't going to follow them because they're too corrupt. That is principle. You'd rather stay poor than sell your daughters for politicians or for anybody else. That is principle. So, Matt, I just want to give thanks to Mr. Baylor, to give Mr. Joseph, which I appreciate and admire highly, because there is one man that could be in the bouncy and say to hell with Dominicans. Thank you.
All right, Matt, I couldn't agree more with Blessings. We are too divided while trying to find the same solutions. We need to be united in one effort to achieve the same goals, that is to get rid of this plague political system. We too like to want to score political points and going where? Where are we going if trying to score political points? This person is trying to make that's the point. But everything is about getting political points. It's a waste of time.
It is. And one of the callers said, I think was senior mentioned about even in churches, I've seen the situation, even in the Suffolk constituency where St. Peter's last year is a big thing there. And again, I did this voluntary. People like, Higgs Adams, Avenida Ditush, we had the St. Peter's Committee, Clift Avenue, we work with these guys, voluntary work. I mean, Higgs used to make sure everybody have power for free. I used to go to town and print posters on my own pocket and stuff and do that. Ditush did these people. And, we did this together, and then we used to have a nice festival. Now, Parep is the one have to pay to put music on road. And
everything's a pile rep.
It's ridiculous. And then the last St. Peter's, the storm was coming, and then they cancel it because they said this and this and that. But I'm like, well, the storm is gonna hit Monday night. Sunday you have the service, and then you can do the thing. Because what about these poor people in Scotland who already purchased all the fish and everything? It's not to say the weather is gonna hit Sunday night or Monday morning. You should have go ahead with it. A lot of people came to Scotland who were very disappointed. Again, lack of leadership, and that's why I really want to highly compliment Sister Nita for putting a foot down and make her realize, I'm the boss here. I'm the principal of the school. I make those decisions. And I think it's about time principals around the schools, the village councils, youth groups, they need to put their foot down. And that's why I'm calling on the National Youth Council, the president of the NYC to
you're passionate about the Youth Council.
I still, because, Matt, when we were, Matt, those people know you in NYC, how much hard you work. We still have meetings in Loubier, in Grand. But, those people know you were part of that, how hard you work.
I don't beat my chest, Jeff.
Yeah, but we worked so hard to put this NYC, and then the NYC is such a popular organization, and for you to have a president of a NYC going on a political platform, violating the NYC constitution, and instead the NYC to be an independent organization. And I want those guys. I want Josiah when he was president of NYC. I want Mr. Barron was president of NYC. And this current guy, I'm warning him again. Objects in the mirror is closer than they appear. I'll tell him exactly what I told him the last two guys that got injured from the political thing about it. Because the NYC should be an independent body to represent young people, to make young people. They should be at the ERC convention. Mobilize people to get rid of corruption. That's what they should be focused on.
On the telephone, hello. Oh, sorry about that. You can call back 44930. And I want to compliment my friend from Grand Bay, the former Chief Youth Development Officer, Mr. Roach. I heard he's retired right now.
Yeah, he's only retirement, I think. Mr. Roach did so much good work. I remember when he was the youth district officer for the South.
Oh, yes.
Great guy, and he worked very hard. And this is the same time, like the people like Roach, they have worked so hard. These guys, they worked. Elizabeth Alfred.
Well, I will say, during his last tenure, he did not have the flexibility because of politics again.
Well, they tie his hand. From what I understood, he couldn't come and talk to you on air.
He had to consult. He had to consult with the pulse. What do you call it? The PS to come and talk to me on radio. I mean, how low can you go? This is a guy that experienced in youth work.
Yes.
What can you tell him to do? He is the expert.
Yeah, Mr. Roach has done so much work in the region. And one of the things that I admire Mr. Roach for, you always say, we need youth groups to keep the youth division going and the NYC.
On the telephone, hello, talk to me. Yes.
Thank you for taking my call.
Okay.
Our country isn't going anywhere more than down the tube. I hate to say that, but that little stuff we had in Roseau on Sunday. But there's a lot of people who suffering. Dominicans love misery. You tell them to go over there and demonstrate or do whatever they have to do. Matt, we like to beat misery. And we love misery, so we have something to complain about all the time. We are getting nowhere, Matt. Believe it or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, I also people say, but Matt, oh, I mean, why do you keep talking? Why do you keep speaking? Is there a level of fear? I say, fear for what? The worst fear is fear itself, Jeff. What are you afraid of?
Well, it was Father John Lewis once said his homily. If you really believe in the right thing, you should say it. Because every Sunday when you go to church, there's a part of the Apostle Creed they read in the church that says that I'm looking forward for the resurrection of the dead. So what should you fear? If you're really looking for the resurrection of the dead and the life to come, you should have no fear. He's right.
What is the fear about?
And the thing is, these political parties, especially like this DLP in office now, what they do, they come in your hand with all these things and they make noise. Every youth group in Soufrière try their best to do something. They try to make an LYO and it's falling apart. The village council, I'm going to call your names. I am really asking my friend Conrad Caesar to resign from the village council. He's a cancer to the council. I am asking my good friend Wifi Jules to step back. He's a good guy, but I would like him to step back and mentor these people and let a fresh blood of people come in the village council. This is another good guy. Glenn Wright was saying he was a DDO. He did a really good job, and Glenn Wright can tell you, if you speak the truth, he'll tell you when people like Higgs, Ade, myself, we went village council, Gustav, those guys went village council, Mr. Frampton, these people. Glenn Wright would come quarterly to our meetings, and work with us, and that's why I'm very happy. He's the chief local government commissioner. But even he himself, I would like him to push more to regulate village council, and they've been talking about village council reform. How could somebody top the polls in a village council and that person is not the chairman or the chairperson? Why government have to nominate their people and these are the people you want to put?
That is absolutely.
That is wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
It is wrong. And the problem is in some of those communities, it happened in Soufrière, Scott said, Gary upon Michel a lot. There are some people who want to hold on to power. They don't have the time to do the work, but they will not let somebody else come in and do the work. There's a youth group in Scott said who trying to do something. And every time they do something, they're getting, like people are upset. They're doing things. How do you want the community to grow? And that's why I do the scholarship, because I believe in investing in our young people, because our young people, they have the opportunity to grow. They are the future. The more that you are in there and creating problem in the village council and PAREP trying to hijack village council, we are not going to go anywhere. And if we're not careful in this country, we might end up being the dumbest set of people in the region. If we don't step up our education program, if we don't put this political thing aside, we are going to be in serious problem. You saw what happened at Hurricane Maria, right? Because before this Prime Minister and the Labour Party, the skills training program was good. They were training people to do different things in building maintenance was the course, the youth division, and they crashed that. The youth division is broke. The youth division don't have a boss. They don't have nothing. Our days, remember in the 80s and 90s?
Oh yes.
It was great. My first girlfriend was at a camp.
Somebody camp.
Exactly. Somebody camp. These things we did. And now what is happening? They are trying to fight this thing down. So therefore, the young people don't have any opportunity to grow. So I am asking them to really rethink this thing. Don't think about yourself. Think about the future in this country, because it's that the very same young people you will need to give a glass of water.
Let me ask you a question, Jeff. I want you to be very objective. Of course, we have a constituency.
Yes.
We have Point Michel, we have Soufrière, we have Gagnon, we have Scott said. The base of the Labour Party, the strength of the Labour Party, let's not hide it, is in the Soufrière village itself. Why do you think that is so? I mean, I just want you to be straight with me. Is it ignorance?
So here's the thing about the Soufrière constituency.
The Soufrière village.
I'll tell about
constituency.
I will tell about this.
Because you can get a mix from Point Michel, you can get a mix from Scott said, maybe God is Soufrière. What is going on there?
So here's what people get mixed up with. This constituency, I work a lot with it. I was campaign manager for Charles Smith. I was campaign manager for Frederick Barrett.
Okay.
And I can tell about this constituency. The most loyal people in the constituency, politically wise, as Scott said, that's what people are getting confused with.
Scott said he's most loyal.
Is the most loyal. Let me explain this. This is what people don't understand. The Soufriere itself, it is strong in labor right now, but it is strong in labor to see what it can get.
Oh,
Soufriere people
underline that.
underline. So
Yeah.
if you look at every year from Charles Maynard, let's go back to when Dennis Labassé and Charles Maynard run. Soufriere, the UWP won Soufriere. Point Michel, the UWP won Point Michel. Even when that was with Barron. Mr.
Right.
Maynard won all this, but when Barron ran, and I spoke to him, I said, Barron, you look good in Point Michel. Soufriere people, they don't go to the polls. You need to get about 60% of the vote in Scotland to win the election. And this people, and I'm giving Labour some insight there, and that's
Right.
fine.
Okay.
Here's the thing. In Scott said, if you can get 60% of the vote in Scott said, you are going to win the Soufriere constituency. And this is why my power rep is a threat of the work I'm doing. She knows that. And I already explained that to her. Soufriere people, they work with you, but you don't piss them off. They will not go to the polls. You give them everything they want, they'll go to the polls.
They will go to the polls.
They won't go to the polls.
But if you give them what they want, they'll what?
They will work with you, but if you piss them off, then that doesn't mean they're going to work with you. That's the respect I have for the people of Soufriere.
Okay.
The people of Soufriere, one of the things I love about them is they'll be with you and stuff. You try to bribe them, they'll take it. But that doesn't mean on election day is when you have to do the work to get those people to go to the polls. And the thing is, the population there is pretty decent. Point Michel has more people, but Point Michel is very 50-50 right now. Scott said Scott said, so if I was to run in the Soufriere constituency now, I know that I will win it because I have about 72% of the vote in Scott said. I already do that work. I have about 48% of the vote in Soufriere and about 37 point something. I did all the work already. Actually, I did that in May when I was there. That's one of the things I was here doing. So I did that work. I know I can win the seat. But Soufriere is a village that people can switch at the last minute.
So you cannot really depend on them.
You can't depend. So those labor thing is just a big flacker. So the thing that is holding the people of Scottsdale behind is the houses in Scottsdale. So once those houses in Scottsdale have been delivered, labor is done. And in Dominica,
you're convinced of that.
I know that. And let me tell you this. The reason why coalition is important, and I will say this, is work I've done, and people like Alex Bruno, if he's listening, he can tell you that too. If you listen to Alex Bruno, the 2019 poll when he spoke to you, he said something people didn't pay attention to. He said that there will be the most likely just change for government. But what you ask him, you said, so what are you have the two major political, but what about the DFP? You know what Alex said to you? He said to you, whatever the DFP is doing on the ground, they have something good going for them. Here's what people don't understand. There's some right now, if election is called, UWP supporters so want change. They will move across and vote for Freedom Party candidate or independent candidate. The Freedomites in some constituencies, they're going to have a hard time in voting for the UWP or even Labour Party. There are constituencies in Dominica, I can tell you, Soufriere is one of them. Soufriere, Granby, especially in an area called Bordeaux, Moutin, there are people there who have never been to the polls since the DFP has not been on the ballot. Cottage is another constituency. Colliho, Salisbury. There are key constituencies in Dominica, and the DLP knows it. As a matter of fact, I'll let the cat out of the bag. The stronger the DFP, the weaker the DLP. The stronger the DLP, the weaker the DFP. They're paying tax. So that's what is going on. So the Soufriere village itself is a seat that can easily, is a village that you can easily get over away from the Labour Party.
So why do you think it's being dominated by the Labour Party right now?
Because there's nobody on the ground doing other work, and then the Labour Party know their threat. They know that Soufriere is a threat. So they are pumping a lot of things in Soufriere. That's the strategy they are using. The strategy they are using, they know that they're in trouble in Soufriere if they mess up. So they are pumping everything in Soufriere. But the people of Soufriere have realizing what's happening. And just today, I met with some people in Soufriere, and they are saying to me, Jeff, it tells you they are sick and tired of that behavior, especially what happened to Daniel Lago and Dominic Meshaf. That really pisses the people off. And let me tell you, Alvin Thomas was the one who said it. History have a way in repeating itself. And I tell you, I see a very good light of that history repeating itself in Dominica.
A very interesting information there. Some things I never knew.
10
huh?
minutes.
All right, we have about 9 more minutes on the telephone. So what about people who say, Jeff, the Freedom Party is a dead party. You can't raise that from the dead.
Well, again, scripture-wise, Pastor Randy can tell you this, William Jones can tell you this, something must die for it to rise again. And I think the Freedom Party have to really look at itself and say, you have a political leader in the last 3 years, you have not had a delegate conference. What are you doing? Is it the Freedom Party dead, or is it the leadership of the Freedom Party need to be looked at? Or is it that the Freedom Party don't want to rough up the feathers, they don't want to go on the ground? No, I am not speaking as an executive member of the Freedom Party, I'm speaking as Jeff Bellott. I believe the Freedom Party has so many people I can speak of, and some of them I can mention their name, that want to join the Freedom Party into running constituencies like Roseau South.
Before you go on, let me just take a quick phone call.
Sure.
Are you there, caller?
My boss, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
I hope that you're doing fine for sure.
Yes,
Aaron Packet speaking here. Let me ask the gentleman who is serving another day with you. Let me ask him a question. Is Janice Charles hoping to contest the upcoming general election or snap election? Is she hoping, or is she planning to go up, or is the Prime Minister going to select her for to contest another election for full time? That's a question I'm just asking the guy.
You know something I don't know, and I don't know. You can ask him.
Well, I know where this is coming from. Let me make this clear. I have not met with the Prime Minister in any detailed discussion of I am going to run independent and switch over. I am just telling you, if you're hearing this, that's not true. Jeff Bellott has not spoken to the guy who's Prime Minister in a long time. And I'll make it public. This guy and I want to have a Cold War. He would say stuff to me indirectly. I would say stuff to me indirectly. If you notice, he don't call my name, I don't call his name. So I have never had any meeting with the Prime Minister to say that I am willing to run as a DLP candidate or independent candidate. I had made it clear to him that I have no interest. So yes, from what I know from the DLP sources, that they are looking to replace her, but I'm not the person replacing her. I have no interest.
Oh.
And depth issues and things like a former PAL rep might be coming up again, and they're looking at they looked at somebody in Point Michelle. So let me tell you, caller, that if some of the stuff I spoke about, that's what we've been hearing. Let me make it clear. They're gonna have to realize their business. I know that they're looking at actively at
replacing her.
That's just been talked about.
Why though? Why?
I don't know. I mean, well, first of all, in honesty, I think she has failed. The Daniel Lagos situation was terrible. I think she has failed, and I think the PAREP should do herself a favor by just resign and show the Labour Party that you are trying to do something sincere, that you have failed, and step it up and resign. Because if you look at the situation when Ian Pinard, he asked Ian Pinard to resign, or Ian Pinard resign, whichever way it happened about this issue that what happened with him,
yes.
And they brought her back, and she ran and stuff like that. So Ian Pinard humbly do his thing and listen. So I think that she now can show leadership by telling the Prime Minister, you know what, I have failed. You have not given me the resources I needed to help the people in Superior constituency. I'm going to take a bicycle. That's my advice to her.
You tell her to resign.
I think she should resign because she has failed the people of the Superior constituency. And I want to let her know I have nothing against her. I'm willing to work with her. I have talked to her cousin just hours before getting here, a few minutes before coming here. And then he understands. And I really want to work with whoever is the government, who is the power. My thing is to develop the lives of the people of the Superior constituency, to get them jobs, to make them be able to be self-sustainable, that every month and they don't have to worry about where a dollar is going to come to pay the next bill.
They don't want to depend on NEP. They don't have to. They don't
have to, but NEP not paying them. Everybody broke.
Jeff, your final comment before you go. We have about 5 minutes to wrap it up.
Well, let me thank you guys again for the opportunity to be here. And let me just tell the people of the Superior constituencies, especially those in the margin area, and Scott said, I will continue to fight for them to ensure that these houses, that every single person in that margin area get a house in Savannah. And I'm asking the Prime Minister, the Minister of Housing, the Finance Minister, I don't know who's Minister for what, but the power, I want to address her directly now and say to her, do the honorable thing, make these houses available for those people in Margini, and please make sure everybody from that Margini area get a house in Savannah. And don't wait for the next election. Don't wait for the next big thing. Please make the houses available for the people, and do it with pride, and make sure they get a certificate of title, even if they have to pay $20 every week or whatever the case may be towards it, that it pay for itself. But please make the house available to the people, because they need it before the next hurricane come, and then we're gonna have more loss of life and property in that area. The other thing I want to leave with you and Matt, is that I know that very soon we're going to be having the ordination of a new bishop in Dominica. I've worked with them. I also made a generous contribution to them, to the church, and for the ordination. And I'm really hoping that...
on that point, let me just make a point there quickly,
Yeah.
because I just got some information there, especially for the people, Catholics, and those who want to help. I'll just send some information on persons who want, because there's some cleaning campaign going on right now. The people who want to help to clean up the church for the ordination of the bishop can do so. I think there's something going on there. Let me see if we can get that. Yes, I just want to make that statement before you go. Yes, we are doing some work from 10 a.m. on Saturday at the cathedral in moving chairs and some cleaning. So can you bring brooms if you can, buckets, to help in that process?
Yeah, we really hope people come out and help with that. It's a big thing. And then I would like the community to turn out, and I would like to wish the new bishop well. And I hope that he will not shy away from issues that are affecting the life of the people in this country. I hope he'll be a voice for the voiceless. And I hope that he will do a good job as bishop, and to work not just within the Catholic Church, but to also work with the other churches on the island. And we really want to wish him well, and hope that he will not shy away from what is wrong in the country to speak about it. And I really would like to wish him all the best.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. I hope you come see us sometime soon.
I hope so. In Everytime Island, we can always do this. But I want to thank you to Matt, a job well done for Michelle, and thank the management and staff at Q to keep this thing alive, where people can talk about the issues affecting the country. And I'm really asking for support. The people out there, the commercial business people, please keep advertising on Q, because when you do that, you are also adding a voice for the voiceless of the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Jeff Bella, thank you very much. We'll see you again soon. Thank you. Taking a break, come back right now.
Something good. Fantastic news from Eaststar Trading Limited, presenting yet another top quality, unbeatably priced product brought in especially for you. Just receive world-class Cleo brand canned tuna in chunks and flakes, available in sunflower oil and brine. Prices start as low as $2.95 per can. Yes, you heard right. Cleo brand canned tuna, perfect for delicious dishes at home, in restaurants and hotels. Shop and save today on world-class Cleo brand tuna, available at Eaststar Trading Limited. Eaststar Trading Limited, working hard every day to make a difference for you. Something good. Something good.
Boy, dirty boy. Boy, I would drink a cold Kubuli. Yeah, boy. Myself, I would drink a BB Spice. No, boy. Yeah, boy. Well, guess what? Kubuli and BB Spice presents Kubuli and BB Summer Bar Tours. Over $20,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Join us for the exciting promotion at selected bars island-wide. All winners will be entered in a grand draw for a chance to win cash prizes, grocery vouchers, top-up, and lots more. Terms and conditions apply. Yeah, boy, I ain't that. Yeah, boy, myself, I on my BB Spice. Where that be? Please drink responsibly.
Hey, my girl, have you ever had a rude boy? Have you ever tasted a rude boy? Do you want a rude boy? We're drinking some rude boy tonight. I'm feeling lucky tonight. We're gonna make some loving tonight. Sing up your bumper, sing up your leg. We're drinking some rude boy tonight. I'm feeling lucky tonight. We're gonna make some loving tonight. Sing up your bumper, sing up your leg.
Choose your root flavor, mango passion, double rootness with extreme, or the legendary root boy original.
We drinking Root Boy tonight. Ah.
Locally distributed by Belfast Estate Limited.
I wanna drink Dominica best rum with you. I wanna drink, baby, Dominica best rum with you. Get the body, drink it every day. Give me energy, no right pepper way. Get the body, drink it every day. Give me energy, like today anyway. Okay, boom. My body, my baby, who's ready? Full energy. My body, my baby, who's ready? Full energy. Okay, boom. Distributed by Belfast Estate Limited. Drink it, but don't abuse it. Okay, boom.
If you know quality, then you must know the manufacturers of Dominica's finest rums, Belfast Estate Limited. Over 80 years leading the industry with exceptional standards and formidable customer service. We present the manufacturers of BB Rum, Soca Rum, Red Cap Rum, Cask Rum, and the signature Belfast Estate Rum Punch. With island-wide distribution daily, Belfast Estate Limited has cemented its mark as the distributor of choice for products like Eldorado range of rums and creams, Kubali Bear, Corona Bear, Guinness, Root Boy drink, and of course, Sunblast juices, Topper Snacks, Vitamalt, and Pine Hill juices. Call the office at 440-7032 or visit the distribution outlet at Jimmy Dominica. Follow on Facebook or Instagram at Belfast Estate. Belfast Estate Limited, your leading manufacturer and distributor of rums in Dominica.
Join us every Monday, beginning July 15th, 2024, for our new radio show entitled Peaceology State.
The vision of Peaceology State is to increase involvements and help improve conditions of peace on individual, family, group, community, national, regional, international, and other levels.
The show will be hosted by founder of Peaceology and the world's first peaceologist, Dr. Peter K.B. St. John.
Co-hosted by his daughter, university journalism student, Patrice K.B. St. John.
Dr. St. John defines peaceology as the science and practice of low stress and high joy.
Peaceology State seeks to increase experiences of low stress and high joy among as many people as possible. Again, join us every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Caribbean Time on Q95 Radio, the big station.
For you, for you, for you, for you, for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we at the Cultural Division are welcoming you to come view our Emancipation exhibition right here at the Old Mill Cultural Center at 6 p.m. on July 15th and every day until July 19th. Our theme for this year's exhibition is 7 Forms of Racism Within Our Society, featuring works of our local poets and artists. Come get a taste of what our Dominican artists have to offer. Remember, Old Mill Cultural Center, July 15th to July 19th, Emancipation Exhibition.
Dominica. We're going to open up the lines for a few minutes here. But in that very interview with Mr. Curtis Matthew yesterday, the Prime Minister took the opportunity some people say to throw the United Workers' Party and its leadership under the bus. I have not heard a response yet from the opposition or the United Workers' Party. And that has to do with the selection of the opposition or non-selection of the opposition leader. Let's listen to a few minutes. And again, we'll take your phone calls. We have 25 minutes. PM Skerritts on the opposition leader crisis. Speaking to Curtis Matthew.
Constitution provides for there to be an opposition leader. And it says there shall be an opposition leader, yes. But it is not a crisis. The opposition leader has certain constitutional responsibilities, and they have been spelled out in the Constitution, where the Prime Minister has to consult with the leader of the opposition on certain appointments. appointments to the Public Service Commission, some, I think chairman, some of the appointments to the Police Service Commission, appointments of the Chief of Police, there may be a few others and so on. So they're not issues that can prevent the state from functioning or the parliament from functioning. It is always better and desirable that there's an opposition leader in office. And for me, I would like to have an opposition leader in office. But it does not stop the work of parliament. It doesn't stop the work of the country. In a situation where you do not have a leader of the opposition, and I have to advise Her Excellency the President on a matter which requires my consultation, requires me to consult with the leader of opposition. But there being none, I simply have to indicate in my letter that there being no leader of opposition, then I am therefore tendering my advice to you on this matter. So it's not going to hold back anything in the country. And the drafters of the Constitution were aware that in the first past the post system of government, and sometimes having different political parties and different political entities, that you would find yourself in a situation then there's no opposition. You had it in Grenada, for example, where there has been no opposition leader for a few terms when the government won all seats. It happened in Barbados twice, though on both occasions someone left the government and went on the opposition bench and became leader of the opposition. In Dominica, you do have two members on the opposition. The reality is none is supporting the other this time. And the question is, who does the president appoint? Because the president cannot just say, well, you or this one. And I believe that the records show that you had a situation in 1979 when the then President, General Armour, advised the Speaker that he was unable to appoint a leader of the opposition when Eugenia Charles indicated to the President that she's unable to get the support of persons to support us in the opposition. Now, that was a deliberate political plot by Eugenia Charles, we know. But the records show that then President General Armour, who we all know was a legal luminary, would have known the Constitution better than most, and the interpretation of the Constitution better than most. And I suspect too that the President may also be relying on that precedent to make a determination on what action she would take. But the fundamental part of your question is there being a crisis. There's no crisis. There's no constitutional crisis. Consult doesn't mean that then you need the approval. It has to inform that you're going to be doing this. Person may agree, person may not agree. Whether the person agrees or doesn't agree, it doesn't change the complexion.
So finally, how do we resolve that matter? Is it something that can be resolved from where you see?
I don't know. The issue, what people have to understand, what many people don't understand, that the management of a political process, the management of a political party is a very difficult job. It's not an easy job. And from time to time, opposition parties demonstrate the inability to manage the political process and to manage the political parties. This is why you have so much division. You have so many leaders being changed and, unceremoniously. You have factions within even the current UWP. You have about 2 or 3 factions because you have to be able to manage different personalities and different views and different perspectives. You have to be able to go by consensus. But you must also be in a position as a leader of a party to provide leadership. You must be able to articulate the vision and the mission and the policies and the programs and the plans of the party and get people to buy into this. But it is difficult to manage a political party. And if you can't manage a political party out of government, you'll have a problem when it comes to government. This is why between 1995 and 2000, you had about 3 factions in the government of the United Workers' Party. Mr. James on one side, you had Timothy on the other side, and you had Earl Williams on the other side. And they were all making decisions independent of the cabinet and independent of the prime minister. So I say to my party, there must always be one leader of the party. If you want 2, then take me out. But until such time, we have only one, because it's important that we have one leader providing direction and guidance to the organization and keeping everybody together. And so this is why people have to take note of what's happening in this. Because the advisors of the Workers' Party, people, including the advisors of the of the member for Salisbury are not using their intellectual capacity, their experience, and their knowledge to advise people. They advise you from a vantage point of hate. So they may be smart people in the ideology, supporting the ideology, maybe intelligent people supporting the ideology, and I do believe that they are. But they're not using that knowledge and that experience that they have to advise. It's always from a vantage point of hate. And so they interpret the Constitution knowing that their interpretation is wrong, but just to create discord and mayhem and confusion in the minds of their supporters, and to keep their supporters hating the government and hating the country in the process, they'll advise them wrongly. You know, when I hear Mr. Linton, for example, reading from the Constitution and trying to explain what the Constitution says, if you do not know, and someone else, Mr. Linton, he in particular, unfortunately doesn't know that he doesn't know. That is dangerous. And you see it in opposition because all of them are getting advice from opposition elements. And therefore, they're not getting the best advice. I don't know who in Dominica, which lawyer in Dominica could have advised the member for Salisbury that senators could write to the president indicating who they support as leader of the opposition. There's nowhere in the Constitution that gives senators the authority to make a determination who becomes leader of the opposition or prime minister. As a matter of fact, senators cannot vote on a vote of no confidence, only elected members. And there's certain amendments to the Constitution that senators cannot vote on.
All right, Dominica, we have 17 more minutes. I'm sure this discussion will continue. It's 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. We have a few minutes on this one. Let's take a voice note here.
I don't see this as any issue of under the bus throwing or any of that. What this man is doing is telling another lie. This guy lies so much. I mean, as he thinks, he lies, he talks, he lies. The man sleeping a blanket of lies. Man, the man stand up on a podium and he said the country don't need an opposition. Then all of a sudden, you playing this thing talking about he would like to have an opposition, but it's not going to hamper what takes place in the country. You see, you got to be careful when you open your mouth 1 minute and you think people not listening, and the next minute you say something else. You could go back to one of his speeches when he get in one of his tantrums during his political campaigning. You know, I think it was the one before he started to cry. But it's one of them times back there. I don't have the year. But my memory serves me right. He was one who's saying we don't need a opposition and whatnot. So here goes the lie again. That's why half the time people must not listen to this guy and just do what they got to do. Do what's necessary to get him out of there. And he knows that the problem is him. Thank you.
Back to the telephone. Yes, I'm sure we'll get a reaction. Hello, talk to me, yes?
Yeah, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Again, Matt, when you listen to this gentleman speak, Matt, this man who has hijacked the governance of our country, this man who is posing as a prime minister, Matt, and sometimes we give him legitimacy when we refer to him as prime minister. Matt, one of the things that the prime minister and all of the people who are supporting the move, the unconstitutional move by the president of Dominica, one of the things that you need to ask them, including Dr. Liquento, when the Constitution says that there shall be a leader of the opposition, is that optional? That is what you have to ask them. Please, what does the word shall mean? Do you have an option when they tell you you shall do that? And Matt, do you understand that you are given an option when the word shall is used to you, Matthias Belty?
Of course.
Okay, so there is no option. So it means without a leader of the opposition, the parliament is not properly and fully constituted. You have a sham parliament, Matt. Whether it happened in the past, It was a sham parliament in the past because the constitution says there shall be a leader of the opposition. And Mr. Skerrit needs to read for himself section 66(2) and section 66(5) of the Constitution so that he can understand that the Constitution refers to senators as non-elected members. They are members of Parliament too. And in 66(2) and 66(5), in the event of a tie among elected members, you have to resort to the unelected members to cast a poll to break the tie. It is crystal clear in simple English language, Roosevelt. So you need to read for yourself. And if you notice, Matt, he criticizes our leaders and so on, but he cannot raise any specific issue that the leaders have commented on for him to give the reasons why they are wrong or why they're right. For example, he spoke about Lennox, the president of the United Workers' Party, and that was one of the things that Lennox was doing. Lennox was quoting the law. So we want Mr. Skerrit to come and to quote the law as it is read in the Constitution and to explain the law as it is read, where it says there shall be a leader of the opposition, where in section 30 defines who makes up the members, who are members of Parliament, where in 66(2) and 66(5), it tells you about the non-elected members of Parliament having the opportunity to vote, to cast, to break the tie between opposition members in the case that we have right now. So Mr. Skerrit needs to inform himself, and I hope people are incited as they hear the continued lies and they hear the drivel from Mr. Skerrit. Mr. Skerrit is talking about Labour Party as an organized party and Labour Party as structured. Every candidate for Roosevelt Skerrit has been appointed, selected and appointed by Roosevelt himself. The constituents have no say in that. Why? Because Roosevelt doesn't depend on genuine election votes to win election. Roosevelt knows that his specialty is stealing elections, committing cheating and bribing as confirmed by the CCJ. So, and ask Roosevelt, Matt, for me, please. I hope, Curtis, I hope you're listening. So the next time you get an opportunity with Roosevelt, ask him when last the Labour Party had a delegates convention meeting or management meeting. Ask him about those things, because it's those things that will tell us whether the party is functioning as a genuine political party or whether it is indeed the dictatorship that it is, Matt. These are the things that we need to find out from Roosevelt, So I hope people are incited to act, to ensure that we get electoral reform, to ensure that this obstacle Roosevelt Skerrit that has hijacked our government for the past how many years illegally, to ensure that he and his gang are removed from the control of our country. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Somebody saying there on WhatsApp, but he only quotes the law for his own convenience. Pure evil. I have a comment there, of course. Let's see if we can go to this one there, 449-3095. Let's see.
Matt, I don't see.
No, I think we played this one already. Let's go to Leonard.
There is no point waste brain cells over what Roosevelt Skerrit has said concerning the situation of the opposition leader in Parliament. The guy has made it clear over and over again that he wants a one-party state. And by his actions in destroying the constitution of the Labour Party itself, in addition to destroying the fabrics of our own governance, he has made himself a dictator. And the fact that he's quoting Mia Mottley's landslide victory and the landslide victory in Grenada tells you that the guy's quest is to make himself the emperor of Dominica. That's all it is. So we can talk about constitutional crisis and all that stuff. This didn't happen overnight. It has been a slow and deliberate attempt with the assistance of the friends of the Prime Minister, people like the Cubans and the Russians and the Chinese system of government, to make Dominica a one-party state. That's all. Roosevelt Skerrit has said over and over and over again what he wants. And the problem is we sit around trying to put all kind of, education and science and all that crap to the actions of the individual. And all we need to do is look at the man's actions over the last 20 years. Look at where the state of the country is. Look at what the police force is doing. Look at where the hospitals are. Look at where the system is. And we know exactly what the guy's intention is. So right now we have a situation, after the election was called and certain parliamentarians were kicked out, we have a situation where the folks who run independently have no real power in the parliament. And Roosevelt Skerrit only wants to run the country with no opposition by himself. That's it. So the solution here is for the people of Dominica to amass and decide enough is enough. And if we have to remove Roosevelt Skerrit by force, we have to remove Roosevelt Skerrit by force if necessary. Because the guy has shown he's not only a danger to himself, but a danger to the state and a threat to the existence of Dominicans.
Again, cautious. Be cautious about the words you use because police might interpret it to be incitement. Huh? Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Yes.
Matt, when you play Roosevelt Skerrit, what he said, if you notice, he's saying something like they always say that the government taking elections. Why don't he want to use the word stealing? I listen to him where taking elections.
He chose his choice of words, huh? Hello, talk to me. I cannot put words in his mouth. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yeah?
Mr. Pelte.
I'm here.
The ignorant and the illiterate, they stand a chance because they can clearly understand that they are illiterate or they're ignorant people. A fool is incapable of concluding that he is a fool because it's only a fool who thinks he can fool everybody and himself is being exempted when the person is the biggest fool. But it is a clever move to try to be a damn thief, a criminal, dictator, and you're there pointing, look at Matt Pelte, but Matt Pelte has so much bad ways. Oh, look, Blessing is a fellow up so. Oh, look, Lennox over there. Oh, look, and think people's eyes are not on you. You see this hiding in plain sight psychology. That's what these idiots are doing, Matt. Our partner tell me he's going to bring me the book and I'm going to say the 10 laws of power. I think that's what they say they're reading, all of them. Somebody tell me, yeah, that's what they're reading. How to destroy the opponents, how to control the people, to deceive and impoverish and disempower and all of that. So, Matt, it is very idiotic to listen to a fool who does not know he's a fool, trying to fool the whole nation and not realizing his cup is full and overflowing, and this is the time to punch a hole in the bottom of his cup so there can be some balance. Thank you.
More voice notes coming in as we continue to explore this latest statement on the opposition, Reese, the opposition leader. Let's listen there for a moment. Good afternoon.
Something there, but it's an open letter I want to send to Brian. Tell Brian for me, please, that when Curtis Matthew gets a chance to interview Mr. Skerrit, is when he gets a script of questions to ask. He cannot ask a question that comes from his head. All right? So Curtis Matthew gets a script of the question to ask, and that's it. So tell that to Brian for me, please, Matt.
Well, I just did to Brian. All respect to Curtis Matthew. He doesn't need a script. I've worked with Curtis for many, many years. Curtis, on occasion, he might have a point on the paper, but he doesn't need a script. Okay, caller? I'll defend Curtis on that one. He has his job to do, but not about having a script. Not my friend Curtis Matthew. I give him his blows when he has to get his blows. But he's not that type of guy. I remember the early days, when Curtis and I went to UE on many a journalism course in Barbados. He's not that kind of guy. Okay? Curtis doesn't need a script to ask a question. Give that to him. 258. Hello, talk to me on the telephone. Yes?
Yes, man. Let me tell you that.
Yes.
We're doing all that to avoid the silver bracelet. And the silver bracelet is going to put on his hand, but don't worry.
The what? The what bracelet?
Silver bracelet. You're afraid of wearing the silver bracelet, but you have to wear them.
The silver bracelet. I don't know about that. Mr. Scared made mention of consulting the president and referred to 1979 and AMO. Back when we had good politicians, we had good contents and good presidents, unlike the greedy ones that now occupy office today. Stop making excuses for Curtis Matthew and other enablers. I'm telling you, the person that I know, he doesn't need a script to ask a question. You know me, I give Curtis his blows when he deserves his blows, but not a script to ask a question. Hello, talk to me on the telephone, yes? How you doing, my brother? How you doing? Yes.
I got full money. I got listen to all you already about me, whatever. But you need to go back to school.
Which one? Who needs to go back to school? Who?
The PM, I say he needs to go back to school.
Oh, he needs to go back to school. Okay, well, that's your suggestion. On the telephone. Hello, talk to me. Yes?
Hey, good afternoon, Matt.
How are you, sir?
I am good. Matt, I heard the Prime Minister saying that there were factions in the UPP and EWP and they didn't know. Who switched Dominica's allegiance from Taiwan to China?
Who
signed on there? Who signed to switch Dominica's allegiance from Taiwan to China?
That was the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, and was that known to the Prime? It was done by Roosevelt Skerrit at the time, okay?
Yes.
But he was not the Prime Minister.
He met. No, hold on. I want you to take your time. He met with the Chinese ambassador without speaking to the Prime Minister, but he signed no document at the time. Okay.
Okay.
All
good.
right.
So how can he then say that there was division in the UWP, but he's saying there's none in his party right now? I want to know if there's no division in his party, why is he afraid of calling for delegates conference? If there's no division in his party.
That is a question you could ask him. But as it relates to the Chinese and the meetings there in Barbados, I was there, I will tell you. But I was not at the meeting, but I was on that trip because I needed a visa to go to China. So, but yes, the Prime Minister met with the Chinese ambassador in Barbados without speaking to Pierre Charles. That I can confirm to you. Somebody said he doesn't need a script, but he would not dare ask the challenging questions of his PM. Let's be fair to Curtis. Let's be fair, huh? Sometimes he might not ask the question that you want to ask, but sometimes he does ask many tough questions. Sometimes you might not like the messenger, but sometimes you have to be fair, about the message he gives. I know, I can tell you that he can do a lot better. But I just want to be fair to him, huh? Failure to appoint a suitable replacement before her abrupt resignation speaks to Jessam's lack of understanding of how the Constitution works and her inexperience